The fine arrived on the same day my daughter Emma celebrated her 8th birthday. $200 for unapproved recreational water feature. That's what they called the small above-ground pool I'd bought for my kids at Walmart for $300. Before watching full story, comment below from where you watching. Also like and subscribe for more stories. I stared at the HOA violation notice while Emma and her friends splashed happily in our backyard pool. It was a simple 15-foot round pool, barely 4 feet deep, the kind thousands of families buy every summer. But according to Patricia Williams, our HOA president, it violated Section 12.3 of our community guidelines. Any permanent or semi-permanent water feature requires Architectural Review Board approval and must comply with county safety regulations, the letter stated in cold, legal language. The fine had to be paid within 30 days, or face additional penalties. I walked over to the fence separating my yard from the community area where our neighborhood's pristine swimming pool sparkled in the afternoon sun. The HOA pool was beautiful, Olympic-sized, surrounded by manicured landscaping and expensive pool furniture. It was also completely empty on this perfect summer day. That's because Patricia had implemented new pool rules this year. Residents could only use the community pool between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. on weekdays, and kids under 16 needed adult supervision at all times. No pool toys, no diving, no running, no loud talking. She'd essentially turned our community pool into a meditation pond. My phone buzzed with a text from my neighbor, Jake Martinez. Got the pool fine too. This is insane. I looked over at Jake's yard where his kids were playing in an identical Walmart pool. Apparently, Patricia had been busy. A quick walk around the neighborhood revealed 5 more families had received the same violation notice. That evening, I attended the monthly HOA meeting at the community center. Patricia stood at the front in her signature business suit, her silver hair pulled back in a tight bun that matched her tight smile. The board has become aware of several unauthorized water features that pose safety and insurance liability concerns, she announced to the room of about 20 homeowners. These violations must be addressed immediately. Mike Thompson, a father of 3, raised his hand. Patricia, these are kiddie pools from Walmart. They're not permanent structures. According to our insurance company, any water feature deeper than 6 inches requires proper permits and safety measures. These pools create liability issues that could affect our entire community's coverage. But your pool rules make the community pool unusable for families, complained Sarah Chin, whose twins were 10 and 12. Kids can barely swim there anymore. Patricia's smile turned arctic. The community pool rules ensure a peaceful, safe environment for all residents. If you want different pool accommodations, you're welcome to apply for architectural approval and install a properly permitted pool. The meeting continued with Patricia dismissing every concern, every complaint, every reasonable request for compromise. She turned our community pool into her personal sanctuary while fining families for giving their kids a place to cool off during the summer heat. Walking home that night, I made a decision that would change everything. I spent the next morning researching our HOA's financial structure. What I discovered was fascinating. Our community pool, built 5 years ago for $300,000, was owned by the HOA but managed by Clearwater Pool Services. The management contract was up for renewal in 60 days. More interesting was the HOA's financial situation. Patricia's aggressive rule enforcement and constant improvement projects had drained our reserves. The community was carrying significant debt, and several homeowners were behind on their monthly fees due to Patricia's excessive fines and special assessments. I called my lawyer, David Kim, who specialized in real estate and business law. David, hypothetically, if someone wanted to buy a community pool management contract, how would that work? Interesting question, Tom. Pool management contracts are business agreements. If the current contract is expiring, anyone can bid on it. Why do you ask? Just exploring options. What if someone wanted to buy the pool outright? That's more complicated but possible. If the HOA is in financial distress, they might consider selling assets to cover debts. The pool would be valuable to a private buyer. I hung up and called my accountant. My construction business had been doing well, and I'd been looking for investment opportunities. A swimming pool in a prime location might be exactly what I needed. The research took 2 weeks. I discovered that Clearwater Pool Services was struggling financially and looking to sell several contracts. The HOA owed them $15,000 in overdue payments. Patricia had been stalling, trying to renegotiate lower rates while making the pool nearly unusable. I also learned that 3 other homeowners were considering selling their houses due to Patricia's increasingly authoritarian management style. Property values were starting to decline as word spread about our dysfunctional HOA. My opportunity came during the next board meeting. Patricia announced that the community faced a $50,000 special assessment to cover overdue bills and necessary repairs. $50,000? Gasped Mrs. Rodriguez, an elderly widow on a fixed income. That's $2,000 per household. Unfortunately, previous financial mismanagement has left us with no choice, Patricia said, somehow managing to blame everyone except herself. That's when I stood up. Patricia, I have a proposal that might help with our financial situation. Her eyes narrowed suspiciously. Oh. I'm prepared to purchase the community pool and surrounding area from the HOA for $200,000 cash. That would eliminate the special assessment and leave money for other community needs. The room fell silent. Patricia's face went through several color changes before settling on an unhealthy shade of purple. The pool is not for sale. It's a community asset. Actually, I said, pulling out documents David had prepared, according to the HOA's bylaws, the board can sell community assets to address financial emergencies. A $50,000 shortfall certainly qualifies. Maria Santos, our treasurer, leaned forward with interest. Tom, you're serious about this offer? Completely serious. Cash offer, 30-day closing. The HOA keeps the clubhouse and common green areas, just sells the pool facility. The room erupted in discussions. Homeowners were calculating $200,000 would eliminate the special assessment and provide a healthy reserve fund. Patricia hammered her gavel frantically. This is completely inappropriate. The pool belongs to the community. The pool belongs to an HOA that's $50,000 in debt, countered Jake Martinez. Tom's offer solves our financial problems. I call for a vote, declared Maria Santos. All in favor of accepting Tom's offer to purchase the community pool facility? 15 hands went up immediately. Patricia and her two allies voted against, but they were outnumbered 5-1. Motion carries, Maria announced. Tom, you just bought yourself a swimming pool. Patricia's face had gone from purple to white. This is illegal. I'll fight this in court. You're welcome to try, David Kim said from the back of the room. I'd asked him to attend in case legal questions arose. The sale is completely within the HOA's authority and follows proper procedures. The closing took exactly 30 days. I now owned a beautiful swimming pool, pool house, surrounding deck area, and parking lot in the heart of our neighborhood. The HOA had $200,000 in the bank and no special assessment. Now came the fun part. I spent 2 weeks preparing my new business. Splash Zone Private Pool Club opened with a grand celebration on the 4th of July weekend. I hired professional lifeguards, installed new pool equipment, and created a family-friendly environment with pool toys, diving boards, and flexible hours. The membership fee was reasonable, $50 per month per family, with discounts for seniors and single parents. Members could use the pool 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Kids could be kids again. Every family in the neighborhood received a membership application. Except one. Patricia stormed over to my house the day after opening weekend, her face red with anger. Where's my membership application? I have every right to use that pool. I was sitting on my deck watching my kids and their friends play in our little Walmart pool, the same pool she'd find me for. Patricia, Splash Zone is a private club. Membership is by invitation only. That's discrimination. You can't ban me from the pool. Actually, I can. It's private property now. I have the right to choose my members based on compatibility with club values. What values? It's a swimming pool. I pulled out a laminated card I'd had made specially for this moment. Splash Zone Club values: respect for others, especially families with children. Reasonable rule enforcement. Community cooperation. Peaceful conflict resolution. I looked up at her. I'm afraid your history doesn't align with our club standards. She sputtered with outrage. This is revenge. Pure and simple revenge. No, Patricia. Revenge would be fining you $200 for having an unapproved water feature in your yard. I gestured toward our little pool. This is just business. Over the next month, every family in the neighborhood joined Splash Zone except Patricia. Kids were laughing and playing in the pool again. Parents were relaxing on deck chairs, finally able to enjoy the beautiful facility they'd been paying for. Patricia tried everything to regain access. She threatened lawsuits, filed complaints with the city, and even tried to organize a boycott. Nothing worked. The pool was legally mine, and my membership decisions were protected under private property rights. The breaking point came during the hottest week of summer. Temperatures hit 105 degrees for 5 straight days. Every family was at the pool, enjoying the cool water and community barbecues I'd organized. Patricia sat on her back porch, visible through the fence, watching her neighbors swim in the pool she'd made unusable with her ridiculous rules. Her own yard had no shade, no relief from the brutal heat. On Thursday of that week, she showed up at my door with a completely different attitude. "Tom, I'd like to apply for pool membership." For the first time since this whole mess started, Patricia Williams looked humble. Her usual imperious demeanor had cracked under the summer heat and social isolation. "I have an application here," I said, handing her the standard form. "But I should mention, membership requires agreement to follow club rules and maintain respectful behavior toward other members." She took the application with shaking hands. "What are the rules?" I handed her another laminated card. "Pretty simple. Be kind to kids. Share the space. Don't harass other members about minor issues. Treat the facility with respect. That's it. That's it. The same common-sense courtesy you should have been using all along." She filled out the application immediately and handed it back with her membership fee. "Patricia, your application will be reviewed by the membership committee." "Who's on the committee?" I smiled. "Jake Martinez, Sarah Chin, Mike Thompson, and Mrs. Rodriguez. The same people you've been fining and harassing for the past 2 years." Her face went pale. She realized that her pool access now depended on the forgiveness of the neighbors she'd tormented. The committee met the next evening. I wasn't part of the discussion. I'd recused myself due to personal conflict. But I could hear them talking on Jake's porch next door. "She made Mrs. Rodriguez cry over a garden gnome," Sarah said. "She threatened to put a lien on my house over Christmas lights," added Mike. "My kids were afraid to play in their own yard because of her constant complaints," Jake contributed. But Mrs. Rodriguez, the elderly widow Patricia had reduced to tears multiple times, surprised everyone. "People can change," she said quietly. "Maybe she's learned something from this. Everyone deserves a chance to be better." The committee voted 3-1 to approve Patricia's membership, with conditions. She would be on probation for 6 months. Any complaints from other members would result in immediate termination of membership. When I delivered the news, Patricia actually thanked me with what seemed like genuine gratitude. "Tom, I realize I made mistakes. I was trying to maintain standards, but I went too far. Patricia, the pool is about bringing people together, not dividing them. Think you can handle that?" She nodded eagerly. "I just want to swim and be part of the community again." The first day Patricia used the pool under the new rules was awkward but peaceful. She sat quietly in a corner, reading a book and occasionally saying hello to other members. No complaints about pool toys, no criticism of children's behavior, no attempts to enforce imaginary rules. Over the following months, something remarkable happened. Patricia gradually became a normal community member. She helped organize a pool safety class for kids. She donated new pool furniture. She even apologized personally to each family she'd previously harassed. The transformation wasn't complete. Patricia still had controlling tendencies, but the power dynamic had fundamentally shifted. She no longer had authority over her neighbors' daily lives. She was just another pool member who had to follow the same reasonable rules as everyone else. By the end of summer, Splash Zone had become the neighborhood's social hub. Kids learned to swim, families held birthday parties, and neighbors who'd barely spoken before became friends. The pool was serving its original purpose, bringing the community together. The HOA, meanwhile, thrived under new leadership. With their debt eliminated and Patricia's iron grip broken, reasonable people took over the board. Silly rules were eliminated, enforcement became fair and proportionate, and property values began recovering. My little Walmart pool still sits in our backyard, never removed despite the community pool access. It's become a symbol of the principle that started this whole conflict. Families should have the right to provide simple pleasures for their children without bureaucratic harassment. Patricia never complained about it again. As summer ended and pool season wound down, I reflected on the journey from a simple HOA fine to owning the community pool. I'd never intended to become a pool owner or club operator. I just wanted to give my kids a place to swim without someone constantly telling them they were doing it wrong. Sometimes the best response to unreasonable authority isn't to fight the system. It's to buy the system and run it better. The pool closed for winter maintenance in October, but Splash Zone would reopen the following spring with even better amenities and programming. I'd learned that running a community pool was actually enjoyable when you focused on bringing people together instead of keeping them apart. And Patricia? She'd already submitted her membership renewal application with a personal note. "Thank you for giving me a second chance to be a better neighbor." The war was over. The community had won.